Please Homer, Don't Hammer Him is the third episode of the 18th season of The Simpsons, and I liked Marge's story. I didn't like Bart's. I kind of thought Bart's was a bit irresponsible, to be honest. So I'll get Bart's out of the way over and done with first. Bart finds out that somebody at Springfield Elementary has a peanut allergy, and there's this great scene where Marge is removing all of the peanuts things from Bart's lunch, and there's an actual Peanuts Charlie Brown thing, which, being a big Charlie Brown fan, I rather enjoyed. But Bart finds out who it is, and I won't say who it is, I won't spoil it, but he weaponizes those peanuts and throws peanuts at this person, and I feel like that's a really irresponsible thing to do, because certainly younger children watching this might see the same thing and copy it. And it just concerns me that, people do die if they come into contact with, things they're severely allergic to. And I just feel like the consequences for Bart weren't enough to get the message home that you really, really, really shouldn't do that. So I feel like it was a little bit irresponsible. Of course, one could argue it's not the TV show's episode if a child is nasty enough to do that to another child, but at the same time, it's just not worth it. It's not worth risking somebody's life, particularly a child's life. So I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I didn't care for it. I feel like it was a little bit too irresponsible. And to be honest, not that interesting either. The direction it took wasn't interesting. And I think it just made light of life-threatening allergies. And that's not to say that I feel like they couldn't joke about it, because they can. There was a funny bit with Milhouse that I really liked. But yeah, I just feel like it wasn't the best idea. Marge's story focuses on a carpentry business that she has. She learns that she's actually quite good with hammer and nails, and she sets up this business, but she realizes that nobody wants her to work for them because she's a woman. So she uses Homer as a front, and Homer knocks on the door, introduces himself, and then when the people's backs are turned, Marge is the one who's doing all of the work. And the big question is, will all be revealed? Will people find out it was really her? And there's a fantastic bit with, it's the bit with We Will Rock You. You'll know exactly which bit I mean, and I loved that. I thought it was very funny, and how that kind of concluded really entertained me. But it's also very thought-provoking, and unfortunately, I think something that's quite true. Because of gender stereotypes, there are people who don't want women to do so-called men's work, and I think, people see this a lot in things like carpentry, manual labour, but also in IT and basically any STEM. So it's very, very thought-provoking, and this was the beginning of the century. This was nearly 20 years ago, just shy of that, and I feel like attitudes are not that much better. So unfortunately, the episode's still quite relevant today, but I love Marge. So I really enjoyed watching her in this, seeing her flourish, but also getting annoyed that Homer was getting, and indeed taking, all of the credit, and I liked how that part of the narrative developed. I found it to be quite interesting. So that bit I really enjoyed. The bit with Bart, I don't know, I think it just wasn't a good way to handle that story. I think there are other things they could have done with it. I can't offer any suggestions, but I feel like it was just a little too irresponsible and didn't really show the consequences of Bart's actions quite enough. But Marge's story, really liked. Please Homer, Don't Hammer Him. Not the best episode, but it had its moments.